This was actually one giant rec room or one weird laid out bedroom. So because the space was so big, we already had the 2 windows here. It made perfect sense for us to put a wall down the middle and make 2 bedrooms in the basement. So when we add 2 bedrooms in the basement, that really jacks up the value and the rent. All said and done, even after the refinance, which my partner got 108 grand back. So we're only into this property for 80 grand. And it still cash flows 300 bucks with property manager, with all the utilities, with that refinance.
What is up, you guys? Matt McKeever here with Matt Piche, and so we're actually walking just a quiet, nice little street here, and we're still in Kitchener?
Still in Kitchener, yeah.
So we're going to be walking up. Matt's got a great duplex conversion. This is kind of one of your bread and butter strategies.
Yeah, lately especially, yeah.
And so what I love is, at least in my market, London, Ontario, everyone says there's no deals on the MLS.
Yeah.
But every property we're looking at today, you were saying, that's an MLS gem that you just found?
So almost every deal we buy is MLS, just because my whole strategy with my partners and I is quality. So I want quality. Doesn't mean I don't like off-market deals, of course I do, but they're harder to find in the right areas that I want. So, and also my strategy is long-term. So I can afford to pay a little more, even pay market value today, because we're gonna keep these properties for 5, 10, 15 years. So we'll win for sure in the future, right? So
awesome. So you've broken down the numbers for us here, so let's just dive right into it. So first of all, what was this property originally listed for, Matt?
So it was listed for $450. So it's a single family property at the time, $450. There was multiple offers. We put in $450 firm, which is, again, going back to the other video, we talked about a good savvy strategy to get better deals is to go firm. So we did that, seller accepted it. We closed in like 30 days. It was all good. Nice.
Do you mind breaking down for us, you know, how do you get comfortable going into a property and making a firm offer, no conditions? You know, essentially if they accept, you're committed, right?
Exactly. So you're very committed, so you have to be savvy and know what you're getting into. Basically, if I know the ARV going forward, which I always do, I'm comfortable. I can run the numbers because I've done so many renovations. I have a carpentry background. I know how much we're going to spend pretty much on renovations. So if I can factor all the numbers in and I know the ARV, I know what we can pay firm comfortably, and I'll be happy with my partners.
Nice. Yeah. So break down for us renovations then. So this was originally a single family house.
Yeah. So this one was a very easy duplex conversion. Generally, they cost me about $80,000, closer to $90,000 in Kitchener here to do a duplex conversion over and over again. This one was a little easier. The upstairs, we didn't really do too much except for paint, floor, trim. Didn't do any crazy stuff like that. So it was pretty slim at $75,000. That's considered a slim renovation for duplex conversions. So factored all that in, you know, all in with the total cost, we're in for $525,000. We actually just got it appraised yesterday. The appraiser came through and they came back at $585,000, which is actually low. If we list this property on the market tomorrow, we'll get $600K easy. There's so many comps, but whatever, the appraisers are appraisers. We got $585,000, we're still happy. We still got $60K in equity in a 60-day project it took us to flip this around and legalize everything.
Nice, I love it. So what sort of process is there with legalizing it?
Yeah, so it's a pretty lengthy process if you don't know how to do it, if you haven't done it before, but essentially you buy a property, you make sure it's zoned first, which a lot of people don't do that. I have so many people contact me and say, Matt, I bought a property, it wasn't zoned for it, now I can't duplex it. So before we buy property, just do a quick phone call to the city. It takes 2 seconds. Just say, I'm thinking about buying 123 Main Street or whatever. What's the zoning? If they say R5, R6, okay, what does that mean? Can I do a legal duplex? Yes, you can. Now we go firm, because I know we can do a duplex conversion. So always do that first, and then once you do that and you close, you provide plans of the layout of what you're gonna do for the duplex conversion, submit that to the city. It takes them 10 business days to look over it and say, yeah, your windows look good, everything looks good, smoke detectors, I see those, you're good to go, here's the permit. Simple as that. It sounds simple, but your first one, it's a pain in the ass, but once you do a couple of them, it's a very easy process.
Nice. Do you mind maybe breaking down for the audience this 75? What amount would have been spent kind of making the new apartment in the basement? So you need to have a kitchen there.
For sure.
I'm guessing there was bathroom already there or roughed in?
Yeah, bathroom was already there, roughed in. We just took down the ceilings. You got to do the fire separation, resilient channel, rock cell insulation, all that kind of stuff, which eats up the majority of the budget. New electrical. We always split hydro meters, always. So it's 2 separate meters. Tenants pay the hydro. That's a lengthy price. You know, it's about $10,000 on average to split 2 hydro meters and rewire the whole house, both units. It's not too bad, but just keep that in mind. It's probably around $10K to do that alone.
Do you mind, why do you always do that?
Yeah, so it raises the value a ton, and it also puts the onus on the tenant to pay the hydro, which hydro is always rising in Ontario. We hear all the time. But more so for me is the value. The second you do that, like, yeah, it costs us 10 grand, that is immediately added 20,000, 30,000 to the value just from that alone. So you definitely get your money back, and even more, double, if you do that.
And so one of the reasons it's more attractive to investors is simply like you kind of know what your fixed costs are, right?
Yes,
Where
yes.
if you're paying utilities, it's kind of tenant dependent.
Exactly.
It can really be
for
a
sure.
yo-yo.
Yeah.
Okay, so originally the ARV, is this the number you were hoping for? Or
600.
were you aiming for
600, yeah.
So when you're dealing with an appraiser, any tips or tricks, or how do you go about approaching?
So bring your realtor with you on the appraisal. Since I am the realtor, I came loaded with the comps. Everything's jotted down, highlighted, you know, worst area, we got a garage, they don't, etc. So I'm the realtor there, and I show them, and also very knowledgeable with the renovation. So we tell them, I split the hydrometers, we got pot lights in here, I did all new plumbing, I did this, I did that. We spent 100K in renovations is what I told them. No, we didn't. We spent 75. I told them we spent 100. Oh, okay, so that's how we get generally a higher valuation. I normally always get what I tell them I want, or close to. There's only one time where the guy was like way off, but your hands are tied with appraisers sometimes, unless you want to do a whole nother appraisal. But yeah.
And so how important is that prep work? Like, how much time are you kind of spending to make sure that you know your comps in the streets? And any tips for people that are looking to maybe pull comps for the first time?
Yeah, so number one, always work with a real estate investment focused realtor, always. So being that for myself, I know what the comps are. It's all I do 24/7 is this. So I know what the renovations are going to be, what they're going to be worth when they're done, etc. And I can pass that info on to my clients as well here in Kitchener-Waterloo.
All right, so let's now dive into the rents. Actually, you've broken them down for us.
So we got one unit rented in the basement already. It's fully done. They're moving in August 1st. The main floor, we have applications that we're looking at actually right now, so that'll probably be rented very soon. But upstairs here on the main floor, we're going to ask $16.95 plus hydro. That's just for a 2-bedroom main floor, so that's pretty good rent, especially for here in Kitchener. The lower, like I said, is already rented. We got that done for $14.95 a month plus hydro. They pay hydro. We pay gas and water. Super hard to split those meters on an existing property. If we build a new duplex, we'll do that for sure. But on existing, it's not worth it, all the cost. We just split the hydro meters. All said and done, even after the refinance, which my partner got 108 grand back. So we're only into this property for 80 grand, which is pretty good. In Kitchener, that's a home run deal. I know in other areas you get all your money back. In Kitchener, that's like grand slam. So we're only in for this property for 80K, and it's still cash flows $300 with property manager, with all the utilities, with that refinance.
Awesome, I love it. So any tips on, or maybe break down for the audience, where are you advertising your units?
Kijiji, we tried Facebook Marketplace a couple times. This specific property, we had actually our property managers find a tenant for this one. Normally I do it with my assistant here, but we had them do it this time. So super easy for us.
So what does that cost you, having a property management company rent out your unit?
1 month's rent. So they'll get paid this and they'll get paid that.
Yeah, so that's kind of industry standard here in Kitchener?
That's industry standard, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's take a tour, check out the property.
Come on in.
We'll see if we got the same sort of design features.
For sure. All right, come on in.
So while you're showing us the property, just kind of break down for us, what do you need to keep in mind when looking for a property that would work as a duplex conversion?
Yeah, so number one is a separate entrance, obviously, and ceiling height. So building code and the bylaws in each city is a little different. Ontario building code is the same across all of Ontario in terms of fire separation, all of that. But here in Kitchener, the basement must be at least 6'5" finished. That's the minimum. That's way too low though. That's like right there. So we want to buy ceilings higher than that. Generally in Kitchener-Waterloo, we're finding duplexes around 6'8", 6'9" finished. So that's all good. It meets the standards and it's livable. So here we just did, paint floor trim as usual, but the stairs to the basement when it was a single family home was actually right here going down. So we blocked it all off. We just continued the floor over the staircase here. So it's a nice little storage area. The kids can put their boots here or whatever. So we just finished that off. Again, that wall there is completely fire separated, resilient channel, rock solid insulation, super up to code for that. That's pretty much like the hardest part of this unit. Up here was all cosmetics, paint floor trim. Layout was the exact same. We didn't do anything with the layout. We just cleaned it up. So we added the pot lights in the ceiling here. Something again we normally don't do, but seeing as this is a bungalow, there's no second floor there. The electrician can easily crawl up in the attic, pop the holes from up there. Super easy, it makes it look really cool. And again, we're seeing the accent wall. Every single house gets this. Just makes it different, separates it from the other rental units, gives it that modern feel. So we carried it all the way in here. Didn't change windows up here, we just painted them white. just kept it. No reason to do that. This is the fancy light fixture I was talking about in a previous video. This is what we use normally for bedrooms and dining rooms, so get that on Wayfair for 80 bucks. Definitely a nice little touch. In the kitchen here, this kitchen was actually pretty decent in the before walkthrough, and we were going back and forth with my partner. Should we do it? Should we not do it? Again, I use that kitchen company here in Kitchener, and this whole kitchen installed, done, was 5,500 bucks. So we took it out. Did the backsplash, restaurant tap as always, new dishwasher. We go always with the black slate stainless steel finish. It's fingerprint resistant, and again, just looks more modern, more cool. Added the crown molding on here, just separates it. Again, we got the Amazon special for 250 bucks. Looks pretty cool. Every property gets the exact same thing you're seeing here over and over again. Here in the bathroom, we actually did almost nothing. This is original to when we bought it. All we did was put the mirror on. That's it. So we didn't want to get into gutting this and spending money where we didn't have to. We got the valuation pretty much where we wanted, so it worked out. And then this is a 2-bedroom unit up here. Ideally, we want 3 bedrooms upstairs, like 90% of houses in Kitchener are that. But we got the 2 bedrooms here, they're nice and big, and all we did here was paint, floor trim, as always, a couple little light fixtures, and that's it. This one was an easy one. The main floor tenants here will have this access to the backyard. This is their deck for the upper floor. And then the backyard here is shared for the 2 tenants. They would share all of this. So the basement tenants come around here and have their own separate entrance. So this is what we look for duplex conversions, a separate entrance of some sort. Ideally, I want one that's already there. I don't want to dig down on the foundation, deal with that. That's going to, make the numbers go up, probably not going to work. So always do a separate entrance if you can. Makes it so much easier. But down here was all the work. So in the basements, almost 99% of the times, we have to gut it all completely, or at least I like to do that for the inspector. One thing to note is that the Ontario Building Code actually just changed in January 2019, where you no longer have to use 5/8 drywall, rock solid insulation, all of that. You can just do 1/2-inch drywall, which means the same thing that's probably in your single family house. That's all good now across Ontario, but I don't like to do that because the sound separation would be terrible. You would hear everything upstairs, tenants walking with their footsteps. So instead of doing the 2 layers of 5/8 drywall, all I do now is the rock solid insulation resilient channel, which kills the vibration of the walking upstairs, and I use 1 layer of 5/8 drywall. So we're going way above code and providing a better quality product, and the extra cost to do that is really not that much. So it's definitely worth it to put your money in there and keep it quiet. So here we gutted the kitchen. It was kind of the same kitchen as before, same layout. We had upper cabinets. It was like a crappy oak kitchen. We ripped that out, and we actually decided not to put upper cabinets here because the ceiling, it's a basement. Even though these ceiling heights are really high, it would still feel too low for me. So we tiled it all the way up, just made it look really cool, really modern. It makes the kitchen feel really big and open. And then we added cabinets all along this side as well. Got a nice little breakfast bar here. They can do some cool stuff. Tiled it right up to the window. Just kept it nice and neat. Here we have a laundry room. Nothing to see really, but we just carried the floor right in. Got a nice in-suite laundry for each unit. The bathroom was just a gut in terms of floor, vanity, light. We kept the stand-up shower. No need taking that out. It was in decent shape. So we just did all the cosmetics here. Again, same hexagon floors, same light fixture, same mirrors. Keeps it a system. Furnace room, nothing really to see in there. Furnace. This was actually one giant rec room or one weird laid out bedroom. So because the space was so big, we already had the 2 windows here. It made perfect sense for us to put a wall down the middle and make 2 bedrooms in the basement. So when we add 2 bedrooms in the basement, that really jacks up the value and the rent. So we can cash flow even after the high refinances that we're getting in Kitchener. Sometimes your duplexes might not cash flow. If you can stick 2 bedrooms in here, your rent goes up 200, maybe 300 bucks alone here. So we can afford to pay more, and that's how we can buy those MLS deals and compete with the other people, because we know the valuation after, we know what the rents are going to be. So nothing in here too crazy. Paint, floor trim, added a closet, done.
All right, Matt, so let's talk about power teams. And so one of the most important members on your power team or your A team, whatever you want to call it, is going to be your realtor, right?
Yeah.
And so we've touched upon it in a couple other videos we've shot, but let's really, you're an investor and a realtor.
Yeah.
You're a realtor that mainly or almost exclusively deals with investors. First of all, why is that important to, say, like a novice investor or someone that's an aspiring investor?
Yeah.
Why does it matter that your realtor be an investor or deal with investors?
Yeah, so it means that they understand the business, they invest themselves. So if you work with like a regular Joe realtor, they're just probably looking for the commission check. They don't know too much about real estate investing. It's not to say that they're being malicious by just wanting the check. They just don't know. They just want to sell you any property, get that deal done. They don't know if it's a good area, what the rents are going to be. They just want to sell you that property. So you want someone who knows the area specifically for investing. They know what the rents are. They know what to attract for tenant quality. They know what's a good deal, what's not a good deal, etc. And preferably, once you do find an investor-focused realtor, you want to see how many properties they have. So if they have 1 or 2 properties, you know, that's better than none. But ideally, you want a realtor that has, in my mind, more than 8, 10, preferably more than 10 properties. That means they're super savvy. They're obviously obsessed with the business, and they can pass that knowledge on to you. Also, the other benefit is that they already have most likely their power team, contractors, lawyers, mortgage brokers, which is exactly what I provide my clients in Kitchener. When they come to me, I can give them the mortgage broker who also specializes only with investors, another key person on your team. I already have everybody that they need when they come to work with me here in KW, right? So that's really important.
So I work with Jeff Weibel in London. I know one of the first questions Jeff always gets, because he is an investor-oriented realtor, is, oh, you're just going to steal all the best deals. So do you mind, let's chat through that and why that's not necessarily a concern for the average investor.
Not necessarily the concern, because everybody wants their own thing. For example, I like single family and duplex conversions. So I'm going to be trying to snap up some of those, but when it comes to like other types of deals or other areas, I might not want those, whereas my clients would. And also for me, I always put my clients first, like all the time. Even the last property we saw that we showed on the limo tour, I presented that property to my clients and other investors first. I always let them have first crack. If they don't take action on them, I'll step up. I'll probably buy them with my partners. That's the way it kind of goes. So I always give my clients first crack.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind that like every investor is going to have an area that they're kind of focused on, right? So there's certain neighborhoods, certain streets, they're going to be, you've already done a project there, or you just know it inside and out. So that's going to be your primary focus. A city like Kitchener-Waterloo, it's a big city, hundreds of thousands of people living here. That means there's, I'm guessing hundreds of thousands of homes. It's a lot of different opportunities. And so there's not one single investor that's going to be able to take down every single deal that crosses their plate.
I wish, but it's not possible. Even for me right now, I have so many projects coming up in the next 3 months. I literally can't buy another one that closes the next 3 months. So right now, my clients have like fair game for the next 3 months to buy stuff. Right?
Yeah, and so I think that's a big thing to touch on too. Even if you wanted to, you may not have access to the capital. You may not have access to the team members, right? So like your contractors are going to be tapped. In order to like take on every single deal you saw, you essentially have to have an infinite number of contractors, right, to scale up on. So I think that's just a really important point. So if someone's looking to get started and they want to find an investor-oriented realtor, what should they look for? Where should they find them?
Best thing to do would go to other meetups in your local area and find who the realtors are. Like, who are the other investors using for their realtor? They're probably a savvy investment-focused realtor, right? So find out through other investors who they're using. Maybe hook up with other property managers, who are the realtors that they're kind of using to promote their deals or whatever. But number one, find other real estate investors in your area and find out who they're using.
And so another question I get all the time on my YouTube channel, should every investor become a realtor?
So that's a good question I get often too. No. I would say if you are obsessed with real estate and the idea of being a realtor, sure, it might make sense. But if your main priority is to be a real estate investor, it doesn't really make sense, because being a realtor is very expensive. A lot of people don't really understand this until they become one. Just to hold your license and just be a realtor is a lot. For some offices, it's up to $500, even up to $1,000 a month on average. It's very typical just for a realtor to be a realtor. That's whether you're selling stuff or not. So if you're not doing constant enough deals, it doesn't really make sense. So I kind of tell people, if you want to do, more than 8 deals a year and you want to save the commission by being a realtor and investor, it might make sense. You might kind of break even. But for most people, it just really doesn't make sense unless you're obsessed with the idea of being in real estate, being a realtor, being an entrepreneur, etc.
Yeah, I think it's really important people understand being a realtor is a separate business from real estate.
100%.
So it has its own set of skills that are going to make you more effective as a realtor that maybe don't necessarily or aren't necessarily important as an investor.
100%.
So I think it's really important to just understand that, like, I just get this question so often that I just want to really hit home.
Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely opportunities if you're an investor and you want to become a realtor, but I really do think you need to have like a 5-year plan about that. It's not something that you're just going to do for like half a year or a year and instantly make tons of money.
No, man.
Yeah, okay. So let's say someone does want to become a realtor. Any tips or suggestions for them on how to get started or how to find a mentor that's maybe in the investor sphere?
For sure. So just link up with other investors in your area. Maybe link up with another investment-focused realtor, preferably in your area. If there isn't one, maybe it might be good for you to be that one in that area, which is exactly was the case for me when I started in Kitchener. There wasn't really like a full-on investment realtor. I still think I'm the only one where 100% of my sales are investors, from what I know in this area.
Yeah,
so it's cool to feel that.
It's fascinating that you're able to build, you know, such a business off of that very specific need.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I think a lot of people misunderstand that and think that a realtor needs to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, no. The more you specialize in any area of business as an investor, a realtor, the more you specialize, the way better off you're going to be.
Yeah, because you're going to be able to differentiate yourself from the competition,
for
right?
Sure.
And there's a lot of realtors in Ontario. There's a lot of realtors, I think, in most real estate markets right now.
Definitely.
And so it definitely is a competitive field. So one last question. Let's say like my aunt or uncle's a realtor.
Yeah.
Should I use them or should I be focusing on the investor-oriented realtor?
Very tough question. This is where it gets personal. Oh, my Uncle Joe's a realtor. I think I'll use him. No. If you want to buy an investment property, use an investment-focused realtor. I know you're going to piss off your aunt, your uncle, or your friend. Honestly, if you want to build a real business and treat this as a business, you must work with professionals. You wouldn't go to a random doctor for a very specific thing, right? You would go to that specific doctor who specializes to fix your problem. This is the same thing. We're helping you build your financial future. You know, I've done it over and over and over again. I can pass that on to my clients and partners. That's what you want to look for as well. Don't just work with the everyday Joe realtor who sells the home with a white picket fence. This is a totally different business.
Yeah, 100% agree. So I just really want to hit home on that point, guys. If you're going to be a serious business person, you need to treat this like a business. Don't necessarily depend on those personal relationships. Really focus on who's going to give you the best service and the best information and just allow you to execute on your business model.
100%.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.